countless, and I mean countless people are upset with Dehya. And correct, this is a video coming out literally one day before her banner ends. However, I think it's incredibly important to talk about what everyone else isn't. Yes, she has anti-synergy with most characters. Yes, she's not a DPS. But this isn't the first rodeo of that. See, I don't know about you, but I'm not looking at Xiangling like a DPS. I'm not crowning her normal attack. I'm not crowning Chi-Chi's normal attack. I'm not crowning Beidou's normal attack. I'm not crowning Kuki's normal attack. I mean, among other characters, there's stuff outside of dealing damage. Kuki gives healing. Xiangling gives an off-field pyro, though I feel kind of overrated. There's only like a few characters that have this social acceptance that they can be used outside of their normal attack. There are many bursts that aren't good in the game. This is ridiculous that we look at these few supports that have anti-synergy with her and suddenly she's the worst character in the game. This is not the case. There are far too many people who are gonna act like this is just the most useless character and that she's just a complete ghost on the field and she's good for absolutely nothing. This is just not the case. She has two unique things about her that we have not seen in any other character that people are incredibly overlooking. One, the skill is probably the best part about it. I mean, obviously there's the mitigation, but the best thing about this is the pyro application. The only other character, because we have tons of characters, if we want to have a pyro DPS deal vaporize, we could easily pair that with Mona if you want. You could pair that with Yelan, obviously incredible. You could have Ayato's burst on the fields and still do it. You could have obviously xingqiu apply that same damage, or you could even have Barbara. Like, these are people who are constantly putting Hydro off field all the time. Where do we have this in Pyro? Amber's Baron Bunny that never goes off. We have Xiangling where you have to be right up to somebody to get that Pyro instance. Again, same thing goes for here. Bennett is only doing it within a small range. I mean, there's not a lot of options. Toma can almost do it as well, but Dehya's one that can place it all around in a giant AoE. It's important to bring this up because at the state of the game that we're in, a lot of the times we're probably going to get supports in the future that are going to bring back some old meta. Do y'all remember when Child was like almost a must-have back then? This almost brings him back. We experienced this in Honkai as well. There's this one character who was super powerful when they, first came out, and then they did fall off, and then there was an ice support that kind of went with two different characters at the time, got a new weapon, she was brought back. Same thing can be applied to Mona. I mean, she's got a giant AoE that she can do. She has a giant ult. If you use her as like sub DPS or DPS, I mean, it brings these characters back that have existed for a long time back in. Two reasons, because they both have a range and they can go far distance. Child, he's not gonna have a ton of uptime for his melee, but these two characters have a high vulnerability. They can easily get hit out of attacks. And if you're constantly charging up shots for Child when you're out of your melee, wouldn't it be nice to have a character that can take those hits, but also have a resistance to interruption? And I don't know about y'all, but hearing this just sounds like a character such as Ganyu gets a massive buff for this. It's annoying to get hit out of your giant charged attack. She will have resistance to that interruption and will not die while firing off these charge attacks, while giving melt reactions. This can even work with Ayaka. If you're using her skill, she kind of becomes vulnerable on the field and could use an ounce of mitigation, and this would give you a melt reaction. I know she's not super melt based, but this helps. Ever been in Abyss and you get like a lethal hit dealt to you? Are you bringing beidou to take that lethal hit every 8 seconds? Or could you have someone who does it consistently and you don't have to even switch into because she does it on her own? But let's not forget that this is going to be a standard character, and it'd be nice to just get on a whim. If you are pulling on standard banner and you're due for a 5-star character, she comes up, this is not something to be disappointed in at all. I know you endgame players do like to pretend that this game should only cater to you, but tell me that this wouldn't be a nice character to have had on your first run of Abyss, because I know I struggled to keep my main damage dealer alive, and I wish I had someone proper to turn into to tank all the damage. But now I don't even have to switch characters to tank the damage because she just automatically does it. And even now, there's still struggles. Floor 12 is not an easy run-of-the-mill type of thing. It's still difficult. As the game progresses, there's gonna be mobs we're not so familiar with. I have yet to fight this thing right here. I'm still pretty unfamiliar with these mobs as they were rare in the chasm. I am still unfamiliar with what this is entirely. I have not fought this once. So with that being said, I obviously don't know the mechanics of this mob, don't know when to dodge, don't know how to counter it properly. Then there's a simple solution. There's a character that can have me get used to the feeling of fighting the mob and give me the proper time to figure out its attacks versus having to restart over and over and over. This is just gonna give you a smoother run in Abyss. She is not a waste of a slot. She literally wields an element that creates two of the most powerful elemental reactions in the game. Pyro and Cryo is incredibly powerful, and we have a gigantic ice support. This is only gonna make your damage more and more amplified, but also making your runs a whole lot smoother. Oh god. Okay, so this is definitely not my first time ever talking about issues that people overlook within characters. I have an entire playlist you can go ahead and check out for other characters that you probably missed out on and didn't realize their fullest potential, and it'd be great to bring those characters back into the game and give them the love that they deserve. Also, what does this mark on this rock mean? I had never noticed that before. It's like a little too specific. It's clearly carved in there. I wonder what that is. Some ounce of trauma.